Welcome into Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho.
And this is Jacob Waters.
And guys, we have an absolutely loaded show for you guys today. We are going to talk about some of the news and notes going around for the football world. Pretty much all NFL news this week. We're going to really dive into everything that COVID is going to affect the NFL season and camp coming up and all that. So we're going to dive into every aspect of that. We're going to talk a little bit about the Washington news with Dan Snyder and all of that stuff. We're gonna do our fantasy football profile of the week. We both have one this week, and we're really excited to talk about that. But guys, we're starting a new segment on the show that we are super excited for, and this is probably the biggest one. We spent a lot of time prepping this, so we hope you enjoy it. We're doing college football preview. We're starting conference by conference, and of course, we have to start with the best conference in the country, the SEC. So we are going team by team, and we're going to talk about every single team in the SEC, and then we're going to close the show out with our top 5 SEC quarterbacks, and that'll be it, guys. So this is a loaded show. If you're interested in just one of those topics, you don't want to hear everything else, that's totally fine. We understand you have a lot of time, or you have a lot of things to do, not a lot of time to do it. Go in the comments, just click the timestamp. We have timestamps for pretty much every topic we go through, so you can skip to whatever you want to listen to. And also, guys, this jersey behind me, you can get it. Just go on to the comments. Comment that you want the jersey. You're here for the jersey. Let us know what you think, and then put something in about the jersey. You'll be added to the database. We have a lot of entries. You can go into past podcasts that we were selling this jersey for, and you can go on there too, and you can get multiple entries in to win this jersey. So that is super awesome. 3 more weeks, I think, of this, right?
And I think there's 2 podcasts up that they can go enter back into. So
exactly. So
get your name in the hat.
Get it in there. You do also have to subscribe and like the podcast as well on YouTube.
That's
or
not too
on
much
iTunes.
To ask.
Exactly. And then on iTunes, leave a 5-star review and a comment, and you will be entered to win. A lot of entries. We're really excited about it. Very soon, somebody's going to win a Saquon Barkley jersey. Well, let's get started, guys. Absolutely loaded, and we're going to start off with something that, I mean, it's just unfortunate, just the way the world is going. The Washington team, whose name has not come out yet, so I
don't know yet. The Washington.
So 15 women came out last Friday. There's a big article that came out that accused former team executives of sexual harassment and verbal abuse. Dan Snyder was not directly accused. That's the owner of the team. If you've watched this podcast or listened to this podcast for a long time, you know our opinions on Dan Snyder.
We don't like him.
We're not fans. Yeah. So this is just one of those really, really unfortunate things. I do want to say, my heart goes out to the women that were affected by this. That is unacceptable in any profession, especially one that is so dominantly men. Women should be able to get in there and be treated the same way. And obviously there's issues with the Washington front office and from the top, honestly.
Yeah, top down.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is unfortunate. Just to dive a little deeper into this, there was a statement put out by Snyder that said the behavior described in yesterday's Washington Post article has no place in our franchise or society. This story has strengthened my commitment to setting a new culture and standard for our team, a process that began with the hiring of Coach Ron Rivera earlier this week. And I have some thoughts on this, and I'm going to let you take over here.
Go ahead.
Fuck you, Dan Snyder.
Ooh, there we go.
Fuck you. You don't get to fucking say after the fact that you're what was the word? Your franchise, your culture. Excuse me. Fuck you, Dan Snyder. You do not. I'm starting over. Fuck you, Dan Snyder. You do not get to say that your culture is fucked because now things are going. Your culture's been fucked for 20 fucking years because you're the shittiest owner in the goddamn NFL. You're a piece of fucking shit. Fuck you, Dan Snyder. My heart goes out to these women, and I have no ill will towards these women. I have no ill will towards any player that plays for Washington, but we've seen it. Story after story after story of fucking of the Washington Redskins, formerly Washington Redskins, just treating players like shit, handling situations poorly, time after time after time. Trent Williams almost died because your medical staff couldn't tell him that he had a tumor in his fucking brain. People are.
It's not funny. I don't know.
It's
why.
not funny.
It's not funny.
It's fucked up. I mean,
not funny.
I'm charged up a little bit because I've always hated Dan Snyder. Dan Snyder is the worst owner in the NFL. He treats his players like they're like he fucking owns them. He treats his he treats his staff so fucking poorly, clearly, and it's a terrible culture. And the reason it's a terrible culture is because of the owner. All right, I'm sorry, and I believe this for every team. The owner has a profound effect on your franchise. There's a reason the Patriots are really fucking good, and a lot of it's Tom Brady, and a lot of it's Bill Belichick, but a lot of it does go to the owner and Bob Kraft, who is consistently given his franchise a good road. That's the best fucking example. But you go to the Browns, and the reason they've been a dumpster fire for the past 20 years is because their owner is just can't run a franchise very well. I blame the owner when a team is systemically bad. All right, a couple of years here and there, I get it. That's the NFL. That's how it goes. But you have been a systemically terrible franchise, Dan Snyder. I hope you have to sell your team. I hope the NFL deserves better. Washington fans deserve better. The Washington players deserve so much better, and the women working for your franchise deserve so much better as well. And great. There's a report that came out today. This is just a cherry on top. That they're going to hire a woman to be the radio host from Washington.
Yeah.
Fucking A. A woman's gonna be you're fixed then.
Yeah,
you fixed the whole fucking problem. No, of course. You're absolutely right. It is not, it's great. It is absolutely wrong that a woman has not yet been a representative of a team for a radio show. But you're gonna hire a woman as the radio show person, whatever, and that just fixes the problem. Fuck that. Fuck you. It's all bullshit. You go.
Well, you know why? They're trying to divert the headlines and stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, Dan Snyder, I do think he is a terrible owner. I think he's had a problem with trying to get everyone to come under one, what's the right word? Like one roof, one unit, one group, and, really try to turn that organization around. Because I think you're right there. If you look at teams that are historically bad, the Redskins have been on like a 20-year stint where they have just been down. I would put Detroit up there. They've just historically been down. Cleveland, they're down. There's teams where you look to it in a 5-year gap, that's okay. But if you're talking decades, something is going on in the higher-ups. And, I mean, this came to light. Like I said, hearts go out to the women. I hope everything's okay. I hope everything will be okay, and I hope they do make the proper steps. It is unfortunate that Dan Snyder doesn't have to sell. I mean, I don't want the whole dude to be stripped of everything as much as you do necessarily, but I want to see stuff. I want to see stuff improve no matter what.
All right, so I've been accused many times of going off the rails a little bit and speaking from my heart and not being. There's no reason that he should be forced to sell. There are no accusations that specifically
if he doesn't improve the work environment, he should.
Yeah, I'm saying he should sell because I think he's a shit owner and the NFL deserves better. I'm not saying he should sell because of this specific
Yeah, he should sell because Washington deserves a better team.
Yes.
And that is where it will truly start.
Yes, I do blame Dan Snyder for this far more than I think most people because I like I said, I think I already said it. The owner has a profound. Just take it in your work environment, wherever you work, and the listening with me. I don't have a job right now because I'm furloughed still, but it just that if you worked at a good place, you give a lot of credit to the higher ups and the people that are managing it from day to day, and the people that are running the fucking restaurant, factory, wherever the fuck you work, doesn't matter. That has a profound effect. The guy at the top, he affects everything, and a lot of it is just the way he handles himself, the way he runs the business. And man, I don't know. It is what it is. I've always had so little respect for Dan Snyder, and then this comes out. I just have so.
Well, there's been a lot of stuff over the years. I mean, when you look at the name change, he said there was no way in hell for many years he stood on that.
And then he knew this fucking thing was going to come out, and he put it out. You think that there's a coincidence that all of a sudden Washington wants to change their name? And originally, I think we all thought it's because of the social unrest and everything. No, I'm convinced that he knew this post was coming out. He knew that Washington Post was looking for a comment. He got wind that this story was coming, and he tried to put as much shit out there. Oh, he's changing the name. I need to avoid this story. I need to divert the story in the public eye, and I'll
give you that. It is a little weird.
Yeah.
I never hear about Washington at all. No. There's a lot of Washington news coming out right now, and a lot of it's bad, and I hope it gets better. I hope for the fans, because it's really hard to support your product and your team for so long whenever it's not really going the right direction, especially whenever you have stuff like this coming out.
It's unfortunate. All right, we'll move on. I just had to get that off my chest. I will say they did hire a private attorney to do an internal investigation.
He was very open about the whole thing.
Yeah,
he
so
said,
he
unbiased,
was.
Come on in.
I know that I put my bias into reporting the story, so I do apologize for anybody who's not a true Dan Snyder hater like I am.
I hope he watches it.
Yeah, I know he won't, but I do apologize.
What if he does? What if he's like, come on down, I'll give you a tour of the facility.
I'd go.
That's a win.
I'd go and apologize.
Yeah. We're waiting.
Yeah, right. But if you didn't take this angle that I did as just blaming Dan Snyder, and I get if you didn't, I brought my bias to the story, so I apologize for that.
Don't back down from your
I'm
emotion.
not backing down from how I feel. I stand by everything I said about Dan Snyder. But I think that I did take away from the women of the story, and if I did that, I do apologize in that sense, because that's really what the story is. It's an issue of treating women the way, it's basically a men's world, and women are getting treated like shit, and this is just a story that shows that. It's unfortunate. Whatever. We'll move on. Let's get into some COVID news. All right. So
it gets better.
It gets better. Yeah, we're really up and cheery today, guys. All right.
Yeah.
So the first thing we got to talk about
and pandemics between the pylons.
All right. So under the testing agreement, so there's a lot of stuff that's come out, and I said I believe last week or the week before that I was going to kind of do a big rundown on everything, on all the stuff we know when we have enough information. Well, that's this rundown. I think we have enough information at this point, so we're going to go through it. There's still a lot we don't know. Things can change. I still may have to update you and say something's changed, but as of right now, camp is set to open July 28th. That is a week, exactly a week from recording this, and 5 days from when this video gets posted and when this podcast gets posted. So
soon.
Yeah. So July 28th, that's coming up. Roster capacity will drop from 90 people or 90 players to 75 to 80, depending on the team. That's unfortunate. I mean, we talked about all offseason. I feel like that the bottom of the roster guys are not going to get a chance, and this is an example of that. Every year there's a couple guys that were in those like 10 to 15 players on the very end of the roster, from 80
there's always a feel good story
that makes it that somehow beats the odds and makes it. We're not getting that this year, and if we do, they weren't in the first round of cuts anyway. Players that test positive will be placed on the commissioner exempt list. So what that means is, I don't know if we reported this week, but last week, but there was a report that came out that said they were going to be on the IR for 3 weeks. That is no longer going to be the case. So we didn't report. I tweeted about it. That's what it was. But that's not going to be the case. They've changed that. There will be no minimum or maximum length as it was originally reported. They will not have a loss of compensation either. So if a player,
that's good. They're taking it case by case.
Exactly. So if a player gets COVID, he can return when he no longer has any there's no trace of the disease, I guess, and he will not lose money for getting COVID. So that's awesome. I think we can both agree on that. That's super good that they're doing that. There will not be a preseason this year.
There shouldn't be.
We don't need it.
It buys you more time.
It does, and I would have liked to have seen a week. I really would have.
Why though? I mean, there's always the chance for I look at it from a fantasy outlook. I mean, honestly, I see a lot of guys go down on some teams. Like, there's been some big injuries happen.
You're
preseason.
Right. You're right. So are you?
What?
Let me ask you this: Are you against Are you against the preseason in general? Like, you don't want to see it?
I'm against stars and starters in the preseason. I think it's a really good time for people to make the roster and show what they got. And like you said, very unfortunate if there's no preseason. That fourth linebacker is not going to get his chance to show that he could move up to second.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that's going to affect a lot of the lower down guys.
Yeah. So as far as testing, players will be tested daily for the first 2 weeks of training camp. Daily testing will continue as long as the rate of positive tests for players, coaches, and team staffers is above 5%. So if 5% of the NFL community has COVID, they're going to test daily until that goes below 5%. Then after it goes below 5%, players will be tested every other day, and then the league expects to get its results within 24 hours. So it'll be a pretty quick turnaround on when we'll find that stuff out.
Gosh, a test a day?
Yeah, every day.
And cram that to your brain.
Yeah, so it's not as bad. The new tests that they have aren't as bad because the first ones,
swab.
Yeah, the first ones that came out were all the way up in your they've stuck it up your nose.
They stuck it in your nose till they felt it stop.
Yes. Now it's like just a swab, like somewhat up your nose. It's like picking your nose essentially. So they're fine there. But yeah, no, these guys are getting tested a lot, man. That's crazy.
It is a lot to go through, and I mean, it's different, you know, because when you look, I mean, it's their job.
Yeah,
it's their job.
They have to do it.
One of the things that they have to do right now, and I've seen a lot of backlash on Twitter from a lot of players.
There has a lot of players just they don't know what all the safety precautions are going to be coming out, and a lot of this information came out in the past 24 hours of recording this, and a lot of players have been upset, you know, over the past week.
Because on the weekend, on Saturday, Sunday, they took and said the hashtag "We want to play."
Yeah, and nobody knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they said they need guidelines.
Exactly. A lot of this information, really, this morning, I put together a lot of this stuff because I mean it's just not out. It's not readily available yet. Not everybody really understands what's going on, so I'm glad we can kind of get a jump and just put this all out there and hopefully you know, get everybody up to date on what else is going to happen. A lot of other things we got to talk about though. A lot of really interesting things. The NFL plans to spend $70 million on testing. We were talking about testing. $70 million. So that's pretty crazy. Yeah. So the other thing that should be mentioned is there's going to be an acclimation period for veterans, right? So coming into training camp, they're going to increase it from 7 days to 18 days before they must start practicing. And there is also an opt-out rule that allows players and veterans to decide that they don't want to play. Now, the thing is with that opt-out rule, as of recording this, we don't know what the date's going to be. The NFL is pushing for August 1st. It shouldn't be August 1st. They go to camp on the 28th.
Yeah.
The players should have a little bit more time to decide how much danger they're in.
Because we don't know. That's the whole thing with this. It could get worse. It could get better. It could go away in 3 months. It could stick around till this time next year.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where I think the NFL is going to have to appeal to its players, and they need to set a standard, kind of like the NBA is doing.
Yeah.
NBA is one of the most well-run leagues as a whole because they listen to their players, and mainly because the players really control the owners instead of the other way with this. So I hope to get the players.
I mean, you mentioned the NBA, the NHL. I think for the first time, was it yesterday or the day before, they had no positive tests. So the NHL is going in the same direction. I think the way that you get the I think this is the right way to do it for the NFL as far as testing and just killing these guys with testing. What they have to do,
it works.
I think we're going to get a lot of COVID cases. We are. And honestly, it might not look good for the first month of training camp or the first month of the season. But by the end of the season, I would think that most of this is going to have gone away in the NFL sense. I don't know about the real world. Obviously, that's a whole nother topic completely. But if you have somewhat of a small sample size of people, you can pretty much just test that out of the population. Essentially,
what NBA is doing with the bubble.
Exactly.
If it never gets in the bubble, it can't get in the bubble.
Exactly.
It can't spread.
And granted, the bubble wouldn't really work for an NFL team, but I mean, essentially, especially in training camp, you're kind of in a bubble. Like you have to go, like all these players have to go to training camp and be on the facility and everything. Like it's like a summer camp type of style. So I don't know. It's all random. I do think it's worth mentioning the NFL is projecting $70 million cap decrease due to COVID this year. So the profits are going to go down for the NFL.
Technically the first time ever.
Yeah, it's going to be the first time ever.
Since they introduced the cap.
Yeah, and we were talking about, I mean, I feel like at the beginning of the offseason saying it could be this year. So it's really not going to be this year. It's going to be next year instead. And that makes even more sense because,
that's your revenue that
that's your revenue that they're losing. Still, $70 million is a drop in the bucket at the end of the day for the NFL. Like I said earlier, they're spending $70 million just on testing. So
they're okay.
It'll be all right. Retirement news. This is real quick, real fast, just to lighten things up. Michael Bennett does announce retirement, and that is
great career,
great player.
Hall of Famer.
Is he? We always have to go there, right?
What do you think?
I say yes. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think his time with the Seahawks was amazing. He won a ring with the Eagles. He's just is he three times? Did he get one with the Patriots too? He might have. I think he's a 3-time Super Bowl winner.
He could have.
I think he did because he was with the Eagles when they won, and then the Patriots won the next year. He's with the Patriots.
That's just good luck.
That's fucking amazing luck. Yeah.
That's LeGarrette Blount getting one for the Patriots and going to the Eagles and getting 2 back-to-backs.
God, yeah. I think he has 3. I could be wrong about that. Let me know in the comments.
I think he's a Hall of Famer as well. I think because we have such broad scope on what the Hall of Fame is, and I'm not saying that to belittle Michael Bennett. He fits within that though.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I 100% agree. And then big news. You want to take it away here?
Antonio Brown. Goodbye. Maybe.
Again.
He came out on Twitter and said that he is done. He said that his life moves on past 8-4. We'll see. Seems like you haven't been able to move on yet. I don't know. I wish you the best. I really hope you get better. At one point, you were one of my favorite players, and ever since a helmet, it just went down.
Man, it was bad. And it's crazy to think that, like,
we could go back right now, and the Raiders would have Antonio Brown and Henry Ruggs.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't even have Henry Ruggs at that rate.
Yeah, maybe not. It's just crazy to think that when we started this podcast almost a year ago now, this is episode 51. We're coming a year is next week.
And we're going to party.
But it's been a year, and we've been talking about Antonio Brown pretty much the whole time.
Yeah.
Like on that shitty mic that we had to share in your living room.
Yeah, we recorded out of a trash can.
Yeah, pretty much. And we talked about Antonio Brown then. That was really when we started shitting on it. So the evolution of the Antonio Brown story a year later, he's finally retiring again. Who knows? We'll see.
He could still come back and be...
He's retiring because he doesn't have a team to go to.
Man, but he could come back and be top 5, though.
Yeah, he could.
He's so good.
He totally could.
He is so good. Hall of Fame.
No. I'm going to say no. And the reason I'm going to say no is because of the past year. I think that took him.
I am going to say first ballot no. Would be a definite first ballot if none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
But I think the same... If Terrell Owens wasn't a first ballot, because of the media and some of those things, he's nowhere near what Antonio Brown's done in the headlines.
Antonio Brown didn't finish his career, essentially. His career got cut short, and T.O. did, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I think you can keep Antonio Brown.
If T.O. wasn't a first ballot based on that, just because the media had some disdain for him, Antonio Brown's going to get it, I bet.
Antonio Brown's definitely not going to get
that's what I'm saying. They're gonna hold it against him.
Yeah. But I don't think Antonio Brown ever gets in, is what I'm saying.
I think he'll get in.
You think he'll get in?
His numbers.
He has to, like...
His numbers were through the roof,
right?
and at the end of the day, I know he's facing some legal trouble for an assault. I wish the guy the best. I really do. I wanted to see him out on the field because he's that good of a player. But at a certain point, the antics are just crazy, man.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
It's just too much.
Couldn't agree more. All right, we are done with news and notes, and that's pretty much the fastest we've gotten through news and notes in a while, so that's great. Fantasy football profile of the week. Let's get going.
Touchdown, did not step out of bounds. What official check with...
DeVante Parker. So we are breaking it off, and we are each doing a fantasy profile. I take DeVante Parker because I was going to post... So DeVante Parker, 1,200 yards last year. That is 4th in the NFL. 9 touchdowns. That is as many touchdowns as Michael Thomas, who is goated, who is the best slant route we've ever seen in the world.
Yeah.
Really good. My argument being, DeVante Parker is elite. DeVante Parker's ADP, can you guess?
5th round?
7th.
7th round.
DeVante Parker, 1,200 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns, 7th round ADP. Bye. Also, keep in mind, this is with him posting a 0 week 2 and a 2.8 on week 6.
Yeah.
There's room to grow here. This was on a bad Dolphins team last year. Yeah. This is without a terrible running game. Fitzmagic was able to throw the ball, yes, but it was all garbage time. And with Tua coming onto the scene, hopefully you can really see him grow into that role. He is a great deep target threat. He ranked 5th out of all receivers at his position, which receiver, of course, in deep targets over 25 yards, and he had an 80% catch rate on him.
Wow.
He's a big play guy.
Yeah.
He's a red zone threat. I don't think he's sitting at the table like Michael Thomas and him got into that beef. He's not sitting at the table with those guys, but he's at the door. He's good.
I love it.
He's really good. So he did 1,200, 9 touchdowns. I think he's going to do more. I think he's going to do 1,350 next year, 8 or 9 touchdowns. I really do.
That's a bold prediction. I'm
ambitious.
That's a guy that
bust me on it.
Obviously, you wouldn't draft in the 2nd round because of value.
No,
but
a 7th round ADP though, I'll take him in the 5th.
I'm saying if you just say a player who's going to put up 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. Yeah, that's a 2nd round player. That's the value of a 2nd round player.
He's a wide receiver 1. Why does he get put behind some wide receiver 3s?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Look, I'm a
Dolphins fan. Why?
This is the real reason. One, the hype around DeVante Parker through the offseason, it's just been cyclical over the past 3 years. And last year was really the first year that he came alive and he actually proved what all the hype was about. And the thing is, every single
this was really the first time that we got to see him.
And everybody knows I'm a diehard Dolphins fan. I'm wearing a Ronnie Brown jersey. This is the first jersey I ever got. Ronnie Brown, a color rush jersey here. And for those of you who remember him, I'm a diehard Dolphins fan. And every single year I've gotten excited about DeVante Parker. DeVante Parker was one of the first players that I ever going into the draft. When we drafted him in the first round, I was like, I want DeVante Parker. I want him so bad. He's the guy. And we actually drafted him. Never happened to me before. That was the only guy that's ever happened for the Dolphins. I love this player, and you're absolutely right. He is so talented. He's been riddled with injuries over the past, for the majority of his career.
Last year was a good one.
Slowed down, and last year he came alive in the back end of the season, and people just want to forget about it, and it makes no sense.
Well,
to me.
I'm saying he did that much with 2 really, really bad weeks. His highest week was 35 points against the Eagles.
Yeah.
I think it was 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he has
that's what
weeks.
That audio was from, actually.
Yeah, he has big play factor, and you never know when you're in a team like the Dolphins, sadly, who I don't think are going to be winning a bunch of games. You're going to be throwing the ball.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of targets. I think he got over 7 targets 10 times. He hit over 10 targets 5 times. That's a lot of targets for your wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
That's what you look for there. In a PPR league, there's a lot of points to be had right there, solely off of the 1 point, not to mention the yards and the touchdowns. I'm buying DeVante Parker in the 7th round.
I love it. All right, so you just talked about somebody who is undervalued. I'm going to talk about somebody who is just a little bit overvalued. And hold on to just hear me out is all I'm going to say. I'm going to play the audio here.
1st and 15. Chubb with running room. Chubb to the 40. On his way to the end zone.
Touchdown.
Wow.
All right, so Nick Chubb is a
Overvalued.
fucking monster, and I'm gonna say that at the beginning. Look, let's talk about last season. It was an amazing year. Almost 1,500 yards rushing, 8 touchdowns, another almost 300 yards through the air. Almost had 2,000 yards as a running back last year for the Browns, and he was one of the best running backs in the league. He was second most in rushing yards, he was tied for second in yards created with 576, which is a great stat in my opinion. And he had the most breakaway plays last year. You just heard one of them. Dude's a monster. I love Nick Chubb. This argument for why he should not be drafted with an 8. Guess his ADP.
2nd round?
No, 109. All right, so first round, back of the first round.
I see what you're getting
The
at.
reason he should not be a first round pick, and that's all this is based on. I love Nick Chubb, the player. I mean, if you've listened to this podcast a long time, you've heard me basically say how through the evolution of the beginning to now, I have fallen in love with Nick Chubb. I was not very high on Nick Chubb coming into last season, and I mean,
just screaming at the top of your
dude,
lungs that you love Chubb. Just say it.
Stop.
There's nothing wrong with saying I love Chubb. I love me some Chubb.
Sure.
There we go. Thank you.
He's a great running back, though. Chubb is so good at running the football.
He is.
And
you're saying he's overvalued.
I'm saying he's overvalued, and the reason he is overvalued is not because he's not capable of outperforming what he did last year. He's 100% is. He'll be on a better team, a better offensive line. His offensive line did block about 4.7 yards per carry. So he had a good run blocking offensive line, but the team was in shambles last year. The coaching staff really just didn't know what to do with their own team. The offensive play calling was terrible, and Nick Chubb did this. That's awesome. That is so cool. But I'm going to say it. Kareem Hunt is really, really good at football. He's a really good running back. And listen, last year he was used as a pass-catching back. He did not challenge Nick Chubb for rushing attempts very much. He came in, he was the number 2 running back in the second half of the season.
Give it that he only had the second half.
Yeah, so I should put that in there. Kareem Hunt only played 8 games because he was suspended for the first 8 because of some I think he punched a woman and whatever. Anyway, so he has the second half of the season. But the thing is, Kareem Hunt outpaced Nick Chubb in receptions and receiving yards in 8 games versus 16 games. Nick Chubb is not going to be very prevalent in the passing game. Nick Chubb is going to lose some carries to Kareem Hunt. I'm predicting that. This is
percentage split, I would say 60-40.
Yeah, and if it's 60-40,
you don't
This is not a running back that goes in the first round if he's 60-40. Go look at the running backs in the first round. all of them have a unique market share in that they are the only running back on their roster that is going to get the ball consistently.
That's true.
Okay, and Nick Chubb is the first guy that's a part of a running back by committee type of thing. And listen, there's lots of chances. There's lots of changes. Nick Stefanski comes in from the Vikings to take over as the head coach, and I think he's going to do a lot of good things. I liked his play calling for the Vikings. I mean, the Vikings have had consistent offense. Like they do a lot of things well, and I think they can use the Browns roster and do a lot of great things. I think they're going to run the ball a lot. I really do. So I'm not saying I'm projecting Nick Chubb to get. I'm looking at my projections here: 1,108 yards, seven touchdowns, and another 23 receptions for 222 yards. So yes,
that's low tier RB1 numbers.
Yeah, that is low tier RB1 numbers. It absolutely is. You don't take the low tier RB1 at the first round, in the middle of the first round, slightly.
So you would you jump on a big dog receiver there instead?
Yeah,
this is where they're at.
If I'm between Nick Chubb and Michael Thomas, and it's not even a close.
Michael Thomas won't be there.
Okay, so give me another one. Julio.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, it's not close. Tyreek Hill I take over Nick Chubb.
Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara I take over. Oh, absolutely. Alvin Kamara for sure. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of just those names.
Yeah.
D-Hops. D-Hops is 1.11. I mean, he's right there.
So D-Hops is a tough one because D-Hops is on a different team. I'm scared to take D-Hops at 109
That's okay.
too.
That's fine.
But as far
I'm trying to tell people that you don't value it because Dalvin Cook 80%.
Yeah,
Zeke, I would say 85%.
I do want to say for D-Hops, my rankings show that for my rankings, D-Hops is the better fantasy player of the next year. So for my rankings, yes, I would take him over. If I'm sitting at 109, I would hope I don't have to make that decision between those two. But I'm.
So Nick Chubb, easy second round.
I think he should be a second round pick.
Okay.
I think that if you're taking him in the middle of the first round, you are taking a huge gamble on a player that might. I mean, like you said, 60-40 is reasonable. I think that's really, really close to what it's going to be. You're right.
It could be 55-45, honestly. Well, you got to think. You have two all-pro running backs. Especially this one being so young, why risk him getting hurt? You want fresh legs, you want good legs, you want strong legs. This is the way to do it.
Yeah, and what did the 49ers show us last year? Running back by committee works.
And that was with running backs that aren't on this tier of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Yes.
So that's my thing. That's my pitch. Nick Chubb is being overdrafted. Do you agree? I 100% agree with you.
I would be okay with taking him in the second. What about Josh Jacobs?
Oh, I take Josh Jacobs over Nick Chubb.
Solely because once again, it's carries.
Yeah, and I think Josh Jacobs is one of the more talented running backs in the league. I think he's on the same tier as Nick Chubb talent-wise.
See, and that's what a lot of people need to open their eyes to whenever you're looking at fantasy is workload share and targets. That goes for running backs, wide receivers. That's why I'm high on DeVante Parker. You know he's going to be on the field. He was on the field for 90% of their offensive snaps.
Yeah.
He's out there. There is a chance you can't get points if you're not on the field. So if you have a split carry system, they're going to be off the field a lot. If you have a receiver that's the wide receiver 3, that yes, he's on a really good team, but he might not be able to plug in here or there, you know?
And listen, look, Nick Chubb is going to get his carries. He's going to get his yards. The thing is, Nick Chubb is not going to be utilized in the passing game. And it's not because he can't catch. I think he's a fine pass catcher. But Kareem Hunt will have the majority of that workload because Kareem Hunt is one of the best pass-catching running backs in the league. I mean, I would argue that.
ADP,
Kareem Hunt is going in the 6th round. I looked that up, yeah. So Kareem Hunt, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's another note I have for you. Kareem Hunt's going in the 6th round or Nick Chubb in the 1st. I take Kareem Hunt all day in the 6th round. All day.
Yeah. I have him in our keeper league that we're in. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking about it. I could keep him for a 10th.
Yeah, I'd keep him for a 10th.
Or I could keep Devin Singletary for an 11th. And I like Devin Singletary's role.
That's a tough one. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah,
let's get into it. I like it. We'll switch gears to that.
I mean, I'm stuck with Devin Singletary. I could keep him for an 11th round, or I could keep Kareem Hunt for a 10th. I am leaning towards Devin Singletary.
I think that's the right call.
They drafted Zach Moss.
Yeah.
Buffalo. Hey, there we go. We did a thing where we bring up our jersey.
It worked out.
There we go. So I like that 1-2 punch a lot. I like Devin Singletary. I really hope he can step into that role because he had flashes. He would do really good. He would get me 18 points off of 100 yards and a touchdown, and then next week Frank Gore would just take it.
I think, especially if you look at the second half of the season for Devin Singletary, because I've researched them pretty heavily for Hammercast that I write for. If you look at the second half of the season, Devin Singletary came alive, and he was pretty much took over the RB1 carries and took over the market share. I think you're right. I think Devin Singletary is in for a big year. And yes, Zach Moss is coming in. He's going to take over the role that Frank Gore had last year. But I think it's going to be a limited role. I want to see more Devin
Singletary, though.
Yeah. I think.
But I don't know if I will.
You want to what? I'm sorry.
I want to see more Devin Singletary, but I don't know if I will.
I think you'll see enough Devin Singletary. I think you'll see enough Devin Singletary to make that very valuable. Kareem Hunt, I mean, I'd be happy with both those guys. I don't know what your other keeper is.
Saquon.
Oh yeah, you got to keep Saquon. Never mind. But I think you're in a good situation. You're going to be happy both ways. I think the big difference is I would take Devin Singletary in like the 3rd or 4th round, and I would take Kareem Hunt in the 5th or 6th round. And then you're.
Oh, let me spin you one more.
All right, let's hear it.
Aaron Jones for a 9th. He's also on my team.
Aaron Jones is going the 1st round. You got to take him. That's not even close.
So I got to go Aaron Jones.
You got to go Aaron Jones. Yeah, Aaron Jones is going the 1st round.
I know, but it's just.
Dude, trade me Singletary. I'll take him.
I love Singletary. That's the problem.
You're not getting him. You got to draft him and get him.
I am stuck. And Matt LaFleur really favored Jamal Williams a lot. And it wasn't until Jamal Williams got knocked out that Aaron Jones really took it and ran with it.
And then they drafted the other guy. They drafted A.J.
Dillon in the
second round.
So I just don't know why LaFleur isn't in love with Aaron Jones as much as I am, because he won me some weeks. I mean, dude was up in the high 30s several times.
He's a baller. Yeah.
He's good.
Right.
So Aaron Jones over Nick Chubb.
Fantasy-wise? That's tough.
I mean, he's 1st round. I completely forgot about him.
They're both in the same tier. Yeah. I think Aaron Jones is going. I looked at it this morning before we recorded. I think Aaron Jones was 110. I think I could be wrong. And with Nick Chubb going 109, and that's just ADP. You know, obviously that varies a good bit. I would take Nick Chubb over Aaron Jones, but just barely. I don't know. That's a tough one. I haven't done my projections for Aaron Jones yet, so I don't know.
No, that's fine. I mean, that's one last one.
Let me know what you guys think. That's a really good one. Leave it in the comments.
Is McCaffrey the clear-cut one, no questions?
So one of the more recent articles I did for Hammercast was the Carolina Panthers article. By the way, you can go check that out, where I go team by team and do a fantasy roundup of every player. And I do have him as the 101. I do think he's the clear cut. It's so scary because of all the things that are changed.
Clear cut means no argument, though.
Okay, there is an argument. So it's not the clear cut. I do have him as the number 1. He's projected to be the number 1. I don't think that'll change. But man, you have a team that has a different head coach, a different quarterback, a different offensive coordinator, a different everything. They completely cleaned house. We don't know really what McCaffrey's usage is going to be like.
They could kind of rein him in. I mean, we don't know.
We don't know. And look, we know the upside. We know McCaffrey's awesome. We know McCaffrey can be the RB1, but that's all about opportunity. The thing that makes me comfortable enough to keep him at 101 is the fact that they did nothing with the running back position to make me think they're looking at anybody else. There's nobody else on that roster.
And the type of quarterback that Teddy Bridgewater fits right in with that too.
Dink and dunk to McCaffrey all day long.
Yes.
All day.
He's 101. Saquon's right behind him, though. Saquon's really close to me.
My thing for Saquon is not on as good of a team. It's in my opinion.
I mean, that's totally true. You know, I think injuries held Saquon back, and a lot of 8-9 men in the box.
Absolutely. Like, Saquon's the best running back in the NFL. I'll say that. I believe that. Wholeheartedly, I believe that. But for fantasy outlook, I mean, he's on a bad team. It's one of those unfortunate things that you just know the storyline's going to be the second Barkley starts to decline, the Giants are going to get good, and it's going to be really sad. I just project that. I really feel like that's what's going to be happening, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope that the Giants pick it up so Saquon Barkley can be good. And
I don't want to see
prove it.
Generational talent late, because he's generational.
He absolutely,
he's that good.
He absolutely is, and he's not like fake generational that we give every.
The word gets tossed around too much.
He's actually generational.
He's the next. He's the best thing to come out of college since Adrian Peterson, I believe.
Yeah.
On the running back spectrum.
Yeah, he just needs to. It's just all about the team. We'll see what happens. I don't know. All right,
that was good
we're good. All right, we're gonna go to the SEC. So guys, I've been talking way too much on this podcast. And look, we started this.
We're at like a 55-45 time share split.
I had like 90% of the COVID shit because I did all that. All right. Anyway, I was saying all that to say I'm the NFL guy, and we talked all NFL. Now we're going to college, and obviously we both know the other side pretty well, but. This is your.
Well, that's where my heart lies, is in college. I love college football.
This is right up your alley. This is exactly where you need to go. I'm gonna let you take it away. You're the new host
for
the
rest
of the pod.
So we were gonna look at the SEC preview. We're going conference by conference, and we're not gonna really do a total deep dive because There's a lot of stuff that we really just don't know. We haven't gotten to see a lot of spring games. COVID kind of took that away. That's where you kind of get to see where the depth chart and how the roster shapes out. But we will go ahead and start in the SEC East, and I'll do bottom up. Okay. So coming in dead last, might not be a surprise to anyone, SEC East is Vanderbilt. I love Derek Mason. I really do. I think he's a great defensive-minded coach. When he came out of Stanford, I thought it was a good hire. The thing is, to be at Vanderbilt, I think you got to have the used car salesman pitch like James Franklin did. Mm-hmm. You got to get hype in the program. You got to get these guys believing in something. You got to do something outside of what Vanderbilt can offer, because football-wise, it's not much. Facilities are kind of low. You can't really sell out. You don't have that much national TV time other than being on the SEC network.
Yeah.
I like Derek Mason, but it's going to get worse this year. I have them coming in last, and they're not going to win an SEC game.
Really? So I mean, if they only play SEC, which we don't know.
0-8.
0-8 if they
0-8 in SEC play.
Wow.
So last year, based it off of last year, they had Kalijah Lipscomb, Jared Pinkney, and Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah.
Those are 3 guys that are in the NFL now.
Yeah.
You would think that they would be able to do something offensively. Man, they won 3 games.
Yeah, they just weren't able to put anything
and
together.
Now it's getting worse, in my opinion. So the AD at Vandy extended another 1-year offer to Derek Mason, kind of prove yourself. And I love his energy for it. He wants to turn this around.
Oh, yeah. He's put everything into that. Yeah.
I think it takes more to turn Vandy around.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it. We've gone to games.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we've been to a lot of Vandy games. And it's just unfortunate. You go to a Vandy game, and if it's a big school that they're playing, it's not a Vandy home game.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean,
Georgia, I commend them. They come up and take up 75% of that stadium.
Yeah.
And that's a haul.
It's all red.
That's 6 hours and change.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I'm sure Alabama does the same thing. I haven't been to an Alabama Vandy game in Vandy anyway, and I'm sure it's the same kind of story.
Kentucky's so close. They come down and it's a sea of blue.
Yeah, man.
It's just one of those things. I want to see Vandy get better. Every other program is really good. Basketball, baseball, women's basketball, bowling. Yeah. Everything is great. Their football just cannot get it right.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one. I don't really have a whole lot to add to that. I mean, as far as draft players that you could look at, bit me more is linebacker for Vandy that's getting a little bit of draft buzz. I'll be honest, I hadn't watched a whole lot out of him, so I don't have that personal info. But there was definitely some buzz around him. Like you said, there's not a lot of other names that you can really go to. I mean, there's not a lot of excitement.
Just gotta hope that some of them can emerge. They really need an answer at quarterback, and they haven't had it in a long time.
No, they haven't. Yeah, so there's not a lot of excitement around Vandy. It's unfortunate. You want to move on?
Yeah. Number 6, Missouri. You have a new coach. He's the 1-year guy at App State. I think Eli Drinkwitz.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't think it gets much better here.
Much better.
Yeah, I was on Drinkwitz. I was on that name. I don't think it gets much better. Missouri lost Kelly Bryant. So that was the transfer out of Clemson a few years ago. He's gone. So you got to have someone step up. You have a really good running back by committee approach, but a lesser defense, and you're going to get buried by the SEC. I'm telling you, it's just one of those things where when they were added to the SEC in like 2014-15, they went to the SEC championship game against Auburn. It looked like they were going to be the powerhouse. Now they've kind of fallen off.
They've gotten beat down by that schedule. Yeah, that's a tough one. And my thing with Missouri is they always have talent that comes in the NFL.
Oh yeah.
Like I watch a lot of
defensive guys.
Missouri, because I mean, you know this. I'm a huge draft guy. I watch a lot of college football after the college season. You know, and I watch a lot of college football during the season too, but a lot more after. And I watched a lot of Missouri last year. I mean, they have some players. Nick Bolton is a linebacker who's going to be really good. Larry Borman is a lineman that's expected to get drafted pretty high. These are guys, I mean, they're big name guys, really. And you're right. I mean, they don't have any answer to quarterback. I didn't realize that what's his name was leaving. I thought they had another year with him.
Pretty sure they don't.
No, they don't. You're right. You told me that, and I looked it up. You're absolutely right. But yeah, that's unfortunate.
So Missouri, I do think on the whole thing, Missouri. I'm basing this off of a 12-game season too, because I'm just assuming this SEC is going to play ball, and we'll see. Yep. Vandy will not be bowl eligible. I do think Missouri has a fighting chance, but it's going to be close.
It's going to be close. I hope Eli. I'm not going to try and say their last name again. Eli is a good coach. I loved him at App State. I think he turned that program around. I'd love to see what he can do. I really do. I hope they turn Missouri around, just because I always love they get those big dudes on the line all the time, and they're always some good players.
I'm not a big Missouri fan.
Not a big Missouri.
Whenever we had the addition to them in the SEC, I was like, oh really? I wanted y'all. I wanted FSU.
Oh, FSU's not leaving the ACC.
I wanted FSU to come on there. I wanted Virginia. I don't know. I just wanted someone with a bigger name than Missouri. But we will move on. Number 5, South Carolina. Muschamp, you have to prove yourself this year. A lot of fans are getting upset. You haven't won more than 8 games in a couple of seasons there, and fans are getting tired of it. You have a young quarterback in Ryan Helinski. He stepped up last year, won you some games, also lost you some games. He's just young.
He was a true freshman, right? Last year, right? Yeah, he played all right. He had some good moments.
Well, I mean, what did you expect him to do against Alabama too?
Don't judge him against Alabama.
Exactly.
Judge him against.
There's certain times Mike Bobo steps in as the offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
He has some quarterback luck to his name. Hopefully, he can start to turn it around. You have a gritty defense. They have one of the best SEC secondaries, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
2 highly touted cornerbacks. I will butcher their names. One of them's pretty easy, but the other one's like
Israel Mukama. Yeah, he's good.
That's
Amar, whatever it is.
They're really good. I think Muschamp could easily be out after this year, though.
Yeah, and then J.C. Horn. Yeah, Muschamp's always had good corners. I don't know what, even from Florida.
He's a defensive-minded coach.
He is.
He's got that covered.
And he's proven, I feel like, in his SEC career as a head coach, that he's not up to the task to keep up with some of these.
He ruined us at Auburn after he left Florida. He came to us for 2 years.
Yeah,
messed us up.
Yeah, I know. It's just unfortunate that he's gotten 2 chances. You root for him. I've never been a big Muschamp guy. I just don't believe him. This is what it is. I'm really tuned in with a lot of Florida football and Florida State. Obviously, I'm a Florida State fan, but I follow Florida pretty closely. I always hated him at Florida, and I feel like he went to Auburn, and it was like, I like that he was at Florida because Florida wasn't very good under him.
Yeah,
but as far as a coach, I didn't think he was very good. Anyway, we'll move on.
Really good at getting talent. I do think they will be bowl eligible. 6-7 wins. Then we'll move on to number 4. Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Mark Stoops has done a great job.
This is ranked. So number 4, you think Kentucky is the 4th best
in the SEC East?
Wow, I think you're off on that one. I'll be honest, but I'll let you continue.
Who?
Sorry.
Where? Higher?
Oh, I think they're lower. They don't have anybody.
But who can I put there? Mark Stoops is a great coach. They have a good defense. If their quarterback can stay healthy, because last year he was banged up, I mean, there's a chance that they can do that.
I'll let you take it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have.
No, you're good. I think injuries derailed their year last year.
Yep.
They were able to convert Lynn Bowden over and kind of help them, dig out a few games. Almost beat Florida until the emergence of Kyle Trask came in, and then we saw that and how that panned out. But they have a tough schedule. They have to go travel. Their crossover West opponent is Auburn this year, so they have a tough game at Auburn. I think they'll drop that one, but I think they can pull out an 8-win year.
You do? Okay, that's totally fair. I mean, I don't think.
I
think you're right.
I think Kentucky is bad.
I get what you're saying because, obviously you don't put him. You put him over Vandy. Do you put him over South Carolina? I probably would have had South Carolina at 4 and Kentucky at 5, but I'm splitting hairs at that point. So you're right.
Well, it's not as much of a credit to Kentucky as it's a discredit to the SEC East. I'm sorry, you were top heavy but after you get out of Georgia, Florida. And even, I'm not even going to throw, UT's not up there yet.
No, not really. The fact that UT
is a little down.
Yeah, well, I don't want to get ahead of it, but the fact that UT is 3 is pretty crazy, too.
Well, yeah, there's only 3 schools left, and you got to plug them somewhere.
Yeah, so you're right. I mean, it's crazy to think that we're going to get to the SEC West, but man, the SEC East,
West is a dog.
But the SEC East is very obtainable. I mean, every single year, very obtainable. All right, I'll let you move on. Let's go.
Number 3, the fans in the area.
Let's
that
go.
Awful orange get to celebrate UT.
They're about to win the national championship this year. You can just know it.
For the past 6 years.
UT fans keep telling me. They keep telling me.
It's so bad. They remind me every single time. That 2-week period, I think it was 3 or 4 months ago, where they landed 4-star after 4-star, and then they got a 5-star linebacker or something. Oh my gosh, my phone was blowing up with UT's back, GBO on Facebook, because we're in the area, so we have to hear it all the time.
We get that a lot.
When Josh Dobbs was there and beat Georgia on the Hail Mary, we heard it. We still hear it. UT, I want you to get back.
They keep coming back to that.
They have very deep roots. They're one of the most storied programs in college football.
Yeah.
Jeremy Pruitt is doing the right thing. I think fans need to realize that this takes time, though. You haven't really been that relevant since the late 90s.
Yeah,
98, you were a good power. I mean, you were a good program in the early 2000s stuff. You had some good wins and good seasons, but on a national landscape, that's whenever they were really competing for it.
Yeah,
it takes time. You got to get. Butch Jones really took a shit on y'all. I'm sorry. I mean, the way that he went in there and got everyone, and then he got everyone out, it was bad. It takes time to get everything back to normal. I think Pruitt's going to be able to do it. They can put a team on upset watch. They're still not at the SEC elite though.
Yeah.
The Florida, the Georgia, they're not going to be the favorite in that. The Bama.
Do you think they surprise anybody? Because I do. I could see them surprising somebody.
I could easily see them surprising somebody. I think they have a great team. They have a really loaded defense, a good offensive line because they were able to pull Cade Mays over.
Yeah.
He's a really good prospect. If they can figure out where they're going at quarterback They have a really good running back returning. There's a chance they could always upset someone. I mean, it's college football and the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about Cade Mays. He's going to be a first or second round pick next year. Daryl Middleton on the opposite side of the line, D lineman, he's going to be really good. And Trey Smith is the other offensive lineman. Yeah, they have some guys in the middle, man, and that's a really good thing to have.
And they have a linebacker, Jordan Teamata.
I don't think he's eligible in 2021,
but he's going
to be a player. Yeah, he's going to be a good player. If they play the 13-game season, they have to play Oklahoma in week 2.
That's bad. That's why I said if the schedule goes, because they scheduled that home and home, and that was 10 years ago it was like, we'll play Oklahoma, and then it's like, you don't want Oklahoma now.
Yeah, that's
and they have to go to Furman as well.
Yeah,
that's not fun. So maybe they could benefit from getting that game chopped off.
Yeah, so if that game gets chopped off, now how does that work? And we might not know this. I don't know if you know this. I don't know.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Are they going to do it next year? Like if it just goes to straight conference play?
Yeah.
Do they just basically skip this year and push everything back a year?
I would like to see that because that's a good game. I mean,
it'll be fun to watch.
You want to see big matchups. I think that's the problem with college football that a lot of NFL fans that are on the NFL get deterred from, because I mean, you've said it, there's 3 good games to watch a week.
I grew up an NFL fan.
Yeah.
I grew up a Florida State fan and an NFL fan, right? So I wasn't just like, I wasn't super into college every team. I didn't really care what was going on with UT or anything like that, or really the SEC in general. I was just a Florida State fan. And then, as I grew up and got around our group and started following college more, every single week it was just like, there's just 3 games. And then for an NFL guy who watches a lot of NFL football every week, it just wasn't as enticing to me, Well,
I mean, and you can see when, like NFL, you get to see this cream of the crop talent go against each other play after play. In college, you get to see Alabama go down and beat up on the blind school, and it's guys who are going to be selling car insurance versus future first-round picks. And we know who's going to win.
And I will say, the environment of a college football game is so much better than the NFL. I don't know what it is.
Tailgating, I love it.
Dude, it's so, I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but it's so much fun. And NFL tailgate's fun too, but it just feels very like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
It's just traditional to me. I love it. Like after Bo Nix completed that pass when we were in Dallas and Oregon,
insane.
The fans were just cheering down the escalators.
I mean, think about how much fun we had on that entire trip where we just went down. We went down to Dallas, which was just cool in general. We do the tailgating thing. We do the whole thing. It was a lot of fun, and I wasn't even a fan of either team.
College is a good environment. It's nice.
All right, so we kind of got off track there.
No, we're good.
UT, I couldn't agree more with you. I don't have anything really to add to this particular one. I think I'm a little bit more higher on UT than you are, just because I do.
I've just learned.
You brought it down a little.
You got to save yourself.
I think it would not. It would shock me if they won the East, but I think they're going to surprise some people this year. I think it would surprise me if they don't have at least one upset win. You know what I mean? I think they're going to have one.
Somebody. They always play Florida close. I'm not going to say Bama, but third Saturday in October's get weird. That's when they play. You never know. It's around Halloween.
Yeah.
Spooky stuff. Oh, and I heard they're bringing back the black jerseys this year.
Oh, that'll be cool.
It's
nice. I love those.
Cool.
I love those jerseys.
They have a good look.
All right.
My number 2. I'm going to get some crap. I know I will. That's fine. I think this might be one of the most overhyped teams and overhyped player that's a transfer coming in Georgia, and Jamie Newman. Jamie Newman coming from Wake Forest. He is already a dark horse Heisman candidate. A lot of people think he's going to be able to take this offense from a bland stance. And he is exciting. He's a big playmaker. But Georgia lost a lot of guys on offense. They have George Pickens coming back at receiver. That's it.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Listen, I think Georgia is just has so much defensive talent, man.
They do.
They have so many guys that I look at, like Richard Lacoste, the safety, Tyson Campbell, their cornerback. They have so much talent on the defensive side of the ball. And you're right, Jamie Newman, I'm a big fan of. I liked him at Wake Forest. I remember I watched him play Florida State last year, and he was good. He's really good.
He was the only thing out there that was
and he upgraded his team significantly. Now going from Wake Forest to Georgia is so different, and that's a tough transition.
Yeah,
we don't know what we're going to see out of him. I project him to be good, really, really good. Honestly, I think we'll get into it later, but I think he's going to be a good quarterback for Georgia. I would have him number 1, mainly because it's no secret.
You have Georgia number 1, yeah.
I would have Georgia number 1 and Florida.
And I have Florida at number 1.
Yeah, and we went on your rankings and we'll just to go through this. But man, I like Georgia a lot. I think they've been so close for a couple years.
Georgia has just a little
Alabama.
bit. it's a discredit to the way the SEC does the scheduling. Florida is up there solely based on their schedule.
And that's fair.
They get Florida State.
Yeah, this isn't going to be a challenge. I mean,
they get LSU.
Yeah.
That's their crossover. They always play LSU.
Florida has to play LSU, okay.
So, I mean, LSU's not, they're not going to be exactly what they were last year with Burrow. And
they were flash in the pan, yeah.
So, Georgia's got Alabama.
Yeah.
Week 3.
That's tough.
That's
so you're basing it on that, yeah. So you're thinking Georgia.
I think Georgia's going to drop the game to Alabama. They're going to be a 10-win team, and Florida's going to be.
It's a good argument. It is. I'm low on Florida, and we'll get into it. I'll let you explain why you think they're going to be good, and I'll probably talk about why I don't think they're going to be that good.
Well, one last thing on Jamie Newman. Yeah. I think he's going to be really good based on his potential that he has. He has the chance to take Georgia past all their other quarterbacks. It's kind of like Alabama of old. You have the A.J. McCarrons, the Greg McElroys.
Yeah.
You had, Jake Fromm last year. That's who it was. Jamie Newman is a different dog when it comes to being your quarterback. He can open up those plays. You're at 3rd and 11, and he can actually run and get it. It's not some play-action passer. It's not some they were good passers, but he adds a different fold to their offense. Yeah, it's really good.
If they can get a legit quarterback, man, I think they can be super dangerous.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'll get to number 1, Florida. Kyle Trask. I know you're not high on him. Jim Nagy, he's the one who runs the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
He said, watch out. He compared it to the same type of first-year season that Joe Burrow had at LSU, saying that this next year, they could mirror each other. He could be the next guy to come up out of nowhere and just blow the SEC up and have his 1 year.
Listen, man, I get it. And let's talk about Kyle Trask for a second, and then we'll talk about Florida. With Kyle Trask, I get the hype. I've seen the hype. I know about the hype. I don't see it from watching film. Like, he was fine. He wasn't a bad quarterback by any means. He definitely improved Florida when he came in. But he wasn't, like, special, in my opinion. And granted, look, I didn't watch a lot of LSU in 2018, and I didn't notice Joe Burrow at all.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and make that comparison.
It was rough.
Yeah, but I mean, we know that Joe Burrow made some huge steps forward and obviously became the guy he is today. If Kyle Trask does that and he makes some steps forwards, I'll sit here on the podcast and say I was wrong and good for him. He's a young kid. He can improve as a passer.
The big difference is the talent around you too. Coach O and Joe Brady versus Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen's a really good guy. He was able to help Dak do what he was able to do at Mississippi State, but
they're not special. They don't have
the weapons around you.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't have a Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
No, you don't. So I'm not high on Kyle Trask. I didn't see it last year from a talent standpoint. And look, he could prove me wrong. He could. And I'm not sitting here and saying he'll never be good. I don't see that kind of hype. I don't get the hype around him. I think he's way overhyped in my opinion. But that just is what it is. You're right. Easy schedule. I get why Florida's your number 1.
That's why, because you have to play every single one in your East, then you play 2 Wests.
Yeah.
Or A West, which would be LSU right here. And then Florida State's their other crossover. And then they get to beat up on the nobody schools that are just coming for a payday. Yeah. That's okay. Everyone in the SEC does that.
Yeah.
They get to benefit from it this time.
Yeah, you're right. And
they're a college football dark horse just because I think it's them or Georgia going to Atlanta for the championship game.
And look, I completely agree with you. I think it'll be Georgia. That's just me.
Yeah,
it could absolutely be Florida though. And you're
with the way Georgia recruits, because that's another thing when you look at the SEC. All of these guys take out maybe Vandy and Missouri because I haven't looked at the rankings. Mm-hmm. All of these guys are top 30 classes.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like we're splitting hairs when you talk. Like when you say Auburn has a good class. There's still 4 SEC schools above them, and they're at 7th right now.
Yeah. So what I like to do is I like to look at the class from 2 years ago. This past year, whatever, there are going to be a lot of freshmen, some crossover, sometimes. But I think the guys who have been in the college system for a year and are going to come into their second year are the guys really to look at.
Then hit.
That's the class I really think about. So and I do agree with you. I think it's important. We put a bow on the East. I agree with you. Let's talk about the powerhouse of college football in the SEC West.
This is the best division in all football. I mean, you could put these guys up against anybody. And we will go at number 7, and I will clear the air real quick. I have to say the Arkansas Razorbacks, we made a bet years ago that every time we said Arkansas, it has to be pronounced Arkansas or else you owe a shot. So I am just going to refer to Arkansas from now on as the Razorbacks.
The Razorbacks.
So we're good. Razorbacks, you're really, really bad. It's unfortunate. You just got Sam Pittman over from Georgia. He was their old offensive line coach. And I can at least read between the lines. You have a really good offensive line coach.
Yeah.
And what are the Razorbacks really good at producing? NFL offensive lineman talent.
Yeah.
There's something there.
Absolutely.
They always have some corn-fed boys.
Yeah. Now, what state are they in?
Well, I mean, they reside next to Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Which
next to Mississippi.
So Tennessee?
West.
Oh,
west of
what
Mississippi.
is that? What's the name?
Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
I'm not doing a shot. I'm good. I'm saving myself for this. I'll look like a fool in front of however many people watch this. Arkansas.
We had 500 downloads last week, and we're finally getting on the come up. And we're gonna ruin it by saying Arkansas.
I'm not taking a damn shot.
I'm not either.
Good. It's the Razorbacks. We can refer to them as the Razorbacks. They don't have a lot of talent returning, and ultimately, you're the Vandy of the West.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference here is that every other person above you is pretty good.
Do you believe in Sam Pittman, their new coach?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's better than Chad Morris last year.
I do too.
I also don't think they gave a lot of guys time, though. That's the thing. In college, you got to give a guy, like you said,
you
2
need
years.
3 or 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to let your recruits get in and start to change the program itself.
Yeah.
Culture is.
You're not going to do it in 1 year. You
landscape.
can't do it in 1 year because it's all another
Those aren't your guys.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm rooting for Sam Pittman and the Razorbacks.
Almost said it.
The Vandy of the West is a bold statement. You don't think one SEC win? You don't
They
think
can
any?
get one.
One. Okay, so fair enough. I mean,
But they're still
they're
bottom of the barrel.
dwellers. They're bottom dwellers
And
for sure.
it's just, I just don't think it's going to get better. Now, here's where the conversation.
Let me ask you this, and I'm just curious. If you had to put the Razorbacks on the East, where would they rank?
Above Missouri.
Above Missouri. Okay, so I wanted to see where you'd
Right with Missouri. I'll keep that in check.
Okay.
Right with Missouri, because I'm not going to sit here and toot my horn on the Razorbacks going
Yeah.
crazy or nothing. But after this, every single coach is an absolute stud, and they have some deep roots. They have good roots, and it is going to be so much fun to watch. That's why I really wanted to see SEC Media Day, but it got postponed because of COVID. I mean, so many personalities. Number 6, Mississippi State. Mike Leach coming over from Washington State. KJ Costello transferring over from Stanford, who had some draft buzz last year, I believe.
Yeah,
But he
I'm
decided
excited
to
about
stay.
Costello. Yeah,
He's good.
I'm excited about him.
He's gonna throw for 4,500 yards.
Oh yeah, Mike Leach's system. I mean, this is a dude who.
They're gonna be losing too.
Yeah, they're going to be losing. They're bombs away type of guy. This is the same guy who was he was the head coach for
Washington State.
For Washington
Gardner.
State,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what I was like. Yeah, I'm right on that.
Old school Texas Tech too.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
There's some guys there.
So I mean, he had a big hand in the Jacksonville Jaguars starting quarterback. Minshew Mania. So yeah, I'm excited. I love Leach. He's one of my favorite coaching personalities.
Well, he's just
in
wild.
college football. I love him.
You ask him what he thinks about the game plan, and he's like, "Well, I think our mascot could beat up their mascot." It's like, what are you talking about?
He's
man?
I love his interviews.
Yeah.
Love his interviews. I'm not even like. I don't even care about the team. I love Mike Leach. I'm excited for Mike Leach.
And with Lane Kiffin being in the same state of Mississippi, both of them,
Dude,
he doesn't get better than that.
Dude.
It's good. I think they're going to be a good team. I think it's going to take him a few years to be able to get his system going, but he has the quarterback to do it right now.
Yeah.
The problem is he only has 1 year of him. So we'll get to see how it goes. Number 5, Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin, you're coming in. A lot of people hate Lane, especially in the great state of Tennessee.
Yeah, we have a lot of UT fans that are us friends, and none of them are a big fan of Lane.
You can't mention Lane Kiffin without getting something thrown at you hardly. I like Lane Kiffin. Whenever he was at Alabama, I think he learned a lot from Nick Saban. Whenever he went down to FAU, I think it was kind of a growing process for him.
He turned that franchise around a little bit. I mean,
he was able to do him a little bit of justice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now he gets to come back to Ole Miss. There's a lot of talent there. They always do a good job.
They're so
here
good
is
at
a
recruiting.
name to remember. John Rhys Plumlee. He's a multi-sport athlete, plays baseball right now, but once he gets back onto the football scene, he is going to be the dude. I'm telling you, in a few years, that's going to be the name coming out.
So John Rhys Plumlee, you've heard it
Plumlee.
here.
He's good.
You heard it here first on Between the Pylons. Yeah, look, Ole Miss always has talent. Like in the draft, especially just from a draft guy perspective.
Really good wide receiver wise.
Dude, I mean, always has talent. This year, they're going to have Elijah Moore, who's going to be good. Ben Brown, the offensive lineman. Yeah, they have some guys. If Lane Kiffin has grown, and listen, I'm a big believer. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can go in the comments. You see 1% better. That's the first thing on there. And there's a reason for that. I think people get better. I think people improve. People grow. Lane Kiffin knows a lot of football. Has learned a lot of football.
Very smart.
He can, look, I don't like how he handled himself in certain situations, but the past is the past. We got to move on from that. He's back in the SEC. What can he do for Ole Miss? I'm excited to see.
He's going to upset somebody.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
He's going to upset
Ole Miss.
somebody.
I mean, I remember, man, when we worked together at Old Charlie's back in the day, it seemed like every single year Ole Miss upsetted like Alabama or one of the big teams.
For a while, I mean, they were top 25 ranked consensus-wise. I mean, they're a good program, and hopefully they can get back there. So, number 4, Texas A&M, and I thought about putting them lower.
Really?
I'll say it. I did. Last year I was high on Kellen Mond. Remember? We started out the pod, and I was like, I really think Kellen Mond could do it.
I still do.
I do too. He has all the numbers. He has all the physical traits that you want. And he has Jimbo.
Yeah, who's been a quarterback master. I mean,
what's happening though?
He turned E.J. Manuel into a first-round pick. I mean, I don't know. I think Kellen Mond has talent. I really do.
I just don't know where they're going to go.
What happened with Jimbo Fisher? And we talked about Texas A&M a little bit, over the past couple of weeks here with some of the things that's gone on. We can't mention Texas A&M without talking about their ban. I mean, they're
done for this year, no matter what. Whenever it comes to like looking at a national landscape type of thing.
But you still, how many wins do you?
8.
8 wins. I mean, that's a good number. I mean,
fans are not okay with that.
Fans are
when you take
Texas
Jimbo,
A&M,
when you take him having FSU on top of the mountain and you put him in Texas, one of the richest states with recruits, and of course the Texas Longhorns are down right now. TCU's down. Baylor's down.
You would have thought
you should own it.
Yeah, they should have been able to dominate Texas. Jimbo Fisher, I mean, I'm shocked because, I mean, I've always loved Jimbo when he was at Florida State. I thought he was a really, really good coach. And when he went to Texas A&M, I was heartbroken as a fan.
Yeah.
And I was understanding as a realistic person that said, he was offered $75 million.
He's a top 5 paid coach.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really blame him. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. It is what it is. I'm shocked. I'm shocked that 3 years after that hire, 2 years after that hire, whatever it is. Yeah, we're going into the third year.
This is the third year.
That we're talking about Texas A&M like this. I thought he would have done more. But
I really think he's on the hot seat because fans don't want to pay the money.
But
look at that.
Like we said a couple minutes ago, you have to give these guys time. You got to give Jimbo another year or two. I don't think he's on the hot seat this year. I think, he is on the hot seat. You're right. I don't think he's going to get fired this year unless it's just absolutely terrible.
If they end up pulling something like a 5-6 win, he's probably out of there.
Yeah.
I could see that. But other than that, I mean, you have buyouts to worry about. The AD's got to assess all that, And also, here's the other thing, because I'm an Auburn fan, and we go through the coaching cycle every single game. It seems every other week whenever Auburn loses or something. It's always the fire him talk. Jimbo is a good coach, a good recruiter. Like you said, I say give him time.
If Jimbo gets fired, he'll land on his feet.
People are different in the SEC. I don't know what it is. They just become too complacent with being on top of the mountain, or just they see Alabama and they want to be Alabama, but they don't realize how legendary Alabama is right now.
Yeah,
we will never see another one like this again.
Yeah, it's very unlikely.
Clemson's starting to build over in the ACC now, but other than that, you don't see this. You have to be okay with having a good coach.
Really, if Clemson does exactly what Alabama has done over the past 10, 20 years, whatever it is, it's not as impressive. And I know that's a harsh thing to say for Clemson fans, but you did it in the ACC, you didn't do it in the SEC.
It's true.
I mean, and look, I think there's
a
difference there.
It holds merit to me. A lot of people will contest you on that, though.
Yeah, but you played Auburn every year. You played LSU every year. You played these top teams every single year. Clemson is a great team and can compete with every single one of the top teams in the league. There's no doubt about it.
But you got to play them.
But they played FSU.
Yeah,
that's it.
Miami.
Yeah. So it's just not. It's not the same. I don't compare. I don't think they're comparable in my opinion. They're both great franchises. But
Texas A&M, give Jimbo time. Fans, please be complacent because I'm telling you, it can be worse. UT did it, and then they got Butch Jones, and look what happened there.
We know it could be worse.
I'll go into my number 3, and some people, I know I'm going to get some crap for this one because me and you both agree, flash in the pan style. LSU, number
huge
3.
Flash in the pan. Not taking anything away from the 2019 season.
Well,
but
what it was for Joe Burrow and the way that the system worked was just, I've said it before, I love guys coming in, winning the Heisman, take up every accolade you can, and then you're out. They have their rise, they have their fall. That's where Alabama's different. Alabama always is just up here chilling.
Yeah.
LSU, they lost so many guys on offense. You have Jamar Chase, who is going to be the first wide receiver taken.
Oh, easily. He's a top 5 pick.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah.
But, I mean, after that, you got to get consistent quarterback play. Coach O is a great coach. They have a good defense.
Yeah.
I just think the 2 teams ahead of you are going to be able they have more ready to go.
And they have other pieces. Jacoby Stevens is a guy to watch out for. Tyler Shelvin is another dude. They have a cornerback who would be a top
Derek
pick.
Stingley.
Derek Stingley, who's a ball. He would be a top 10 pick this year, but he's not even eligible this year.
They're waiting on him. He's the best cornerback in football.
Yeah, so they have pieces. I get what you're saying. I do. They're going to have a downtick. They're not going to
say that they're third in the SEC West is no discredit, though.
No.
That is huge.
A good team.
They would be number 1 in the East.
Yeah.
They would be number 1 in the East.
Over Georgia and Florida.
They're going to be a 9-10 win team.
Yeah.
They're going to compete right for it. They got to play Auburn, they got to play LSU, and they got to play Florida, and we got to see how that one breaks down. I mean, I would favor them over Florida.
All right. Yeah, I agree. I do agree. I think it's a bold statement, but I think we're both on the same side, which isn't great content for you guys. I'm sorry, but
get us in the comments.
Yeah, let us know.
Number 2, call me a homer all you want. War damn Eagle. I have Auburn as number 2, and it's okay. You can roast me for it. It's good. No, it's fine.
Hear your
I
argument
expect
first.
it. I wanted to see people put LSU above us because a lot of people would put LSU, but it's just because of what LSU lost. We lost a lot on defense for Auburn. I think that this is Bo Nix's year to really see some true development. We got Chad Morris, the ex-Arkansas coach, over now, and he's Gus's friend from they coached high school in separate states, and they communicated about offenses and stuff. Chad
You
Morris
predicted that
yes,
before it happened. Yeah.
I was really good about knowing that one.
Yeah.
Chad Morris coming into Auburn. Gus doesn't have a good repertoire with developing quarterbacks. I'll say that.
Yeah, he's not.
He gets a lot of transfers, and he has a lot of one-hit wonders. And he has some cornerbacks who step up as quarterbacks and Nick Marshall and do some things. Point being is that Bo Nix really has to see some development. And Chad Morris can do it. I really think so. Last year, Bo Nix is a true winner. He has some accuracy problems. He gets hot feet. He dances around the pocket too much. At the end of the day, as a true freshman, he beat Alabama and he beat Oregon.
I was just about to say.
And he kept him in every single game.
He played like a true freshman. It wasn't perfect.
He was scared.
It wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
But he played well, and he showed talent. He did. He showed that he has some true physical talent. I hope it gets brought to the surface. I hope it gets mentioned
if Chad
the right
Morris
way.
can dig down deep in him and get that maturity, dig down deep.
Okay.
Dig deep down.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think I said?
Play it back.
We'll play it back. We'll remember that one. If Chad Morris can bring out the best traits in Bo Nix, he's a true leader. We saw him as a true freshman take his team down a touchdown. And you have to, at Alabama, or at Auburn, playing Alabama, and you have to try to rally your guys as a true freshman, as a 19-year-old, and you win.
That's impressive.
You got guts from me, and that goes a long way. It's a homer pick. I think Auburn is capable of a 10-win year, and I really want to see people get off of Gus Malzahn's ass.
So it is a homer pick. I will say that.
That's fine.
Auburn.
But where else can I put them?
Yeah, no. Look, I'm
3?
I'm going to tell you both sides of it. One, you're right. Auburn's going to be a good football team. They've been a good football team for a while, and I don't think they're not falling off a cliff anytime soon. They did lose some talent on both sides of the ball. I feel like I at the end of the day, I think I'm a bigger believer in Bo Nix than you are. I know we've had private conversations where I've just watched him play enough where I'm like, yeah, he's the dude. Like
he's
he's
got to work on his completion, but a lot of that goes to being a true freshman quarterback in the SEC West.
Listen, I'll put it right here. I think he's going to be a first-round pick in a couple years.
I hope so.
I do.
I think he has the talent for it.
That's where I think he ends up being at, and that's a bold-ass statement. So to say that and then to say Auburn is a little bit overhyped here might be two clashing statements, and
that's okay.
It kind of is. I wonder. I'm curious. I love Seth Williams, the wide receiver.
He's good.
I think they have some good pieces on the offensive line. Carmen something. I think offensive tackles who's going to be. He's going to be a draft pick at some point. You're right. Look, this all centers around Bo Nix and what they can do offensively. I think they're going to have they lost a lot of pieces on defense. I don't think their defense is going to be as good as it was last year.
Well,
and
that's
their defense
a high standard.
It is. Yeah, it absolutely is. But their defense is the reason they were in a lot of games last year.
It
right?
was.
I mean,
they were able to bail out a true freshman quarterback.
They're not in that game against Alabama if it wasn't for that defensive line that was historic. And I mean, a lot of other pieces there.
And we gave LSU a run for their money at Death Valley.
Yeah,
lost by 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, both there's two conflicting arguments in my mind. I think both sides are really fair. At number 2 feels a little high, but I get what you're saying. I mean, I understand.
I have no problem putting LSU above them just because it's LSU.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I would like to. So
we've talked all offseason about them being a flash in the pan. To put them at 2 would take that away from them.
And I truly believe if you have a 5-star true freshman quarterback who now is able to grow, if we saw last year that they were a 9-win team, I mean, I want to see him grow. I want to see him get better. I'm not going to have him regress.
Stagnant, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen,
I want to see them make that next step.
I think that's the best argument. We both believe that Bo Nix is going to progress, and this is your rankings. This is all you.
Yeah.
I support it. I love it. I mean, let's get to number 1.
It's not like I did the ultimate homer.
No,
because you got to leave the big dogs up there. Alabama. You have Bryce Young. He is going to be the absolute dude. He is the 6th highest recruit ever coming out of quarterbacks rated. But you got to wait a year. I think Nick Saban's going to redshirt him.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he's going to redshirt him.
Mac Jones wasn't that good last year.
I agree. I think he's going to redshirt him. True freshmen don't start in the SEC. Bo Nix was the first one in 15 years.
I'd love to see it. I hope Bryce Young starts. We know what Mac Jones is, and I hate to say that about Mac Jones because he's done it right. And you know what? I take it back. I don't hope Bryce Young starts. I think he will start. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Mac Jones has paid his dues. I think he deserves to be the starter there, and they can win with Mac Jones just fine. So I don't think there's
that's the
losing
thing.
that
I think they can win with him because they have a loaded defense. Patrick Surtain, Dylan Moses is a top 10 lock for me. What Jalen Waddle,
Dylan
DeVante
Moses
Smith?
is the top 10. Bro, Patrick Surtain the second is the top 10 lock
good.
for me.
Dylan Moses was hurt and could have come out this year and hurt. And was a first round.
Yeah, they're both super good. Yeah.
So I love them. I mean,
and we're not even talking about their 2 first round wide receivers, Jalen Waddle and DeVante
Najee
Smith.
Harris,
insane,
and Alex Leatherwood, the offensive lineman.
Fucking loaded.
Point being is all the other SEC teams in the West have their chances where it's like I could see where they become this. Bama's there.
Yeah.
They got it. There's a reason that every week you go into playing them, it's upset week. I mean, you always got to put them on upset week and it never happens.
Yeah.
They're that good. Nick Saban, what he's built, I truly respect it. I don't like it. One day it will end, and I'll be over here repping the War Eagles stuff, ready for it. But until it does, have fun. I think they'll be in the college football playoff.
All right. We're good.
Yeah.
That's it. That
hurt me to say it.
I know. It is what it is. I think they win the championship. If you had made me pick, just looking at that team, I think they're unstoppable this year, man.
I think Ohio State or Clemson's got it.
You think so?
I think they have the easier walk.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, they still have to beat Alabama, though.
True.
Yeah.
When you get there.
We'll see. All right. So you're right. I guess if you made me pick odds, it makes more sense that Alabama could fall to one of these other teams in the SEC West or something, and maybe not even get there. That's not happening to Clemson or Ohio State.
They're already
there.
Yeah,
Essentially. All right. That was it. We just did 40 minutes on the SEC. That was great,
good.
and that was kind of a speed round, to be totally honest.
I was trying to get it
we
going.
were trying to keep going. All right, let's finish it up with some top five quarterbacks in the SEC. So what we did with this is we both made our rankings and then we put them together because they were really close.
Yeah.
And we just we did the Mario system where give
if you rank so and so here, this one's there. Yeah.
So it ends up being a little maybe unconventional because we were a little different on it, but I think it's a good list. We're gonna go through it here. At number 5, KJ Costello. I'll let you take it away.
He's good.
He is good.
I think he's gonna finish top 5 in passing yards, maybe number 1, just because of the system and Mike Leach. He's gonna take care of him.
I 100% agree. He was our consensus number 5 there, so we're kind of on the same page. I think he's gonna have awesome numbers. I think he was almost higher because of his numbers. He's gonna wow you with the numbers, but might not be quite as talented as those numbers show. I think would probably be my argument at the end of the year, but still a really good quarterback.
Same thing about Minshew coming out.
Absolutely.
5,000 passing yards. Yeah,
absolutely. At number 4, I had him higher. You tried to stay safe. We ended up keeping him at number 4 with Bo Nix. We went at length with him already.
I try to stay safe.
You did. No, you are. Look, I'm gun ho. Look, we proved at the beginning of this podcast when I kind of went off the rails about Washington. We're different in that mind. I jump in and I say things that maybe I shouldn't, or I'm a little bit overzealous on certain things. You're smarter than me, and you're a little bit more calm, collected, and things like that. It's smart. Sorry, someone's calling me. My bad. We'll keep that in. It's no worries. But yeah, no, we're good. I love Bo Nix. I think he's going to improve. I think he's going to be a first round pick at some point 2 years down the line. I'll let you take away from there. I
keep myself reined in because I have seen Auburn quarterbacks. I went all out on the Jeremy Johnson train. I don't know. You have to be a really deep college fan to remember him. Not really, really deep.
It's pretty deep.
But yeah, he let me down. I lost a lot of respect for myself and some of the things that I said. I mean, I was like, give him the Heisman now. We're going to the Natty. We're getting it done. Dude won 6 games for us. It was bad. So with that, Bo Nix is more talented. I like Bo Nix. I really want to see him grow. And I really think that if he's able to get it done, Gus will stay at Auburn. And after Bo Nix's time, that's when we can truly evaluate what Gus was able to do.
Wow. That's awesome. That's a great way to put it.
You've heard me stand with Gus.
Yeah,
I've stood with Gus from day one.
Yeah.
But if he is not able to get this 5-star, I mean, Patrick Nix, his dad played at Auburn.
Yeah.
He's got the legacy factor going, everything. If he's not able to get a true college football playoff run at his time, it might be it.
Might be it. Yeah. All right, fair enough. At number 3, Kellen Mond. I think My personal thoughts on it, I think he's really good. I'm shocked that he didn't blow up last year. I think we were both very high on him last year. Still a very talented player. I think he plays for Texas A&M, by the way. I probably should have mentioned that. He's a baller. I think he has a chance to just break out this year. I think there's a possibility there with Jimbo Fisher. Listen, I know we've said it at length many times already. It takes a couple of years. Maybe Jimbo Fisher needs an extra year with Kellen Mond to really unlock the true potential that I see in him. I think he's an awesome player.
Well, they have a better schedule considering they finally ended the home and home with Clemson. Kellen Mond's first 2 years he had to play Clemson. I mean, you know what's going to happen there. So. Yeah. He has all the numbers. I said it last year that I thought he was going to be the one to do the Joe Burrow before Joe Burrow did it. So yeah, we'll see.
All right. At number 2, this is where we're probably going to get some hate, I feel like, right? Kyle Trask. He was I'm not high on Kyle Trask. I already said it. It is what it is.
And I am.
And I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be good. I think he's gonna be fine. I don't see special talent from him from watching it. And granted, I didn't study him last year. I didn't go deep dive. But I watched some other players. I watched Van Jefferson. I watched the running back that came out. I forget his name. Came out last year. So I definitely saw some crossover for Kyle Trask. Just was never blown away. Don't understand the ultimate hype. But I get that he could improve and he could become a star. I get that he's there. Look, that just is what it is.
It is weird. It's kind
I
of
lost this argument.
It's kind of a feel-good story that I really don't buy into. Like, you would think you would root for this guy. Until last year, he didn't start a game. You have to go all the way back into his JV days in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a cool story, right?
I didn't even know
to think about how you land as a legitimate number 2 on our SEC quarterback list.
Yeah.
And besides last year, you have to go all the way back to JV.
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
So, I mean, you'd think some more people
How did he get out of Florida?
Him.
Do you know?
Beats me. That's my point. I was watching a game last year after Felipe Franks went down.
Yeah, I remember.
And that's when Trask got thrust into the system. And,
people are high on him. Oh, that's awesome. All right. That's cool. I knew he was the backup that came in for Franks. I did not realize that he hadn't played in high school, really,
since
into JV.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. That's crazy. All right. Number 1, you can probably guess if you follow the SEC, Jamin Newman, the transfer quarterback for Georgia. I'm really high on him. I thought he was really good for Wake Forest. I think he's going to be really good for Georgia.
It's the potential factor there. It's his athletic ability, and hardly any other SEC quarterback is mentioned on the Heisman odds.
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, granted, this is a top 5. I would struggle to get number 6. I don't know where we would have gone at 6. So, I mean,
it's not super deep. SEC quarterback play.
They're not known for their quarterbacks. They're known for their defense, their offensive line, their running backs. I mean,
exactly.
Their quarterbacks are always kind of second fiddle, it feels
but
like.
When they have the quarterback, it's generational.
It's
big. you get the Tim Tebow, the Cam Newton, the Joe Burrows.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you good? You know anything else? All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Check out, comment. Look, let me settle back in here for a second. Leave a comment.
There we go.
Leave a like. Leave a subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. This is for you, YouTube. You do that, you can get this Barkley jersey. I'll send it to you for free. It has tags on it. It's brand new.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Somewhere I can't remember.
It's on the top here.
Yeah.
Either way, it doesn't matter. It's awesome. It's a brand new jersey. You can get it for free. If you're listening on podcasts, go to Apple, go to iTunes, leave a 5-star review, leave a comment. All right, and listen, if you want to, if you're listening on a different site and you want to leave a comment and a review on that one instead, do that, and then just message me on Between the Pylons or something to let me know. I can only really see the iTunes ones, and that's why we're doing iTunes big. But if you leave it somewhere else and you give us a review, you can screenshot it or something, send it to me at Between Pylons on Twitter. You can send it to me there, and I'll enter you to win there too.
We want to send it out. It's a great jersey.
We got a lot of names in. We're trying to build. This is a great way to raise awareness for our brand, our podcast. So it really helps us out if you leave those comments, leave those likes, subscribe to the YouTube channel. All those things. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Peace out.
7.